solve an inequality. So the first step, these should all look very familiar to you. They are going to be very, very similar to the steps for solving an equation. So we have our same reminder of all the steps, the little acronym that helps us remember what order to do everything. And if you remember, it's don't call me after, and then that last one down there is going to be midnight. So that's going to help us to remember all the steps that we need to do. Don't forget, for distribution, if we have something outside of parentheses, we're going to make sure that we multiply everything inside the parentheses by the number that is, or excuse me, the variable, either way, that is outside, like that. And then we have like terms. And don't forget, like terms are on the same side of the symbol. And so here we're going to be dealing with inequality symbols. So inequality symbols are going to be greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So like terms, say we have a less than, those are going to be on either side of the symbol. And like terms have two things the same. The first thing they have the same is they have the same power. And the second thing that they have the same is they have the same variable. So we just need to make sure if they have the same power and the same variable on the same side of the symbol, we're going to go ahead and combine them. Then we're going to move all the variables over to the left. We're going to do that using the inverse operation. So whatever is the opposite, we're going to use that to move it to the other side. And then also undoing the addition subtraction, we're going to do the same thing, move those over to the all the constants, we're going to move to the right, and we're going to use the inverse operation as well. And then very last thing, we're going to divide by the coefficient. Almost always we are going to divide. What's necessary to remember when we're looking at inequalities is if, I'm going to put this in red, it's important, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must flip this symbol. So that is very important for us to remember. If we multiply or we divide by a negative number, we have to flip the symbol. So if we come up to the top, in this first example, we'll just write down our steps. Don't call me after midnight. So we can make sure that we go through all of them. The first one is going to be distribution. And on this one, we know we need to distribute because we have this pair of parentheses here. So we are going to distribute this 1/2 into the parentheses. Nothing on the left-hand side changes. We still have 5n plus 8, and that's going to be less than or equal to 1/2 times 6. Half of 6 is 3. We have our n, and then half of 4 is going to be 2, and that minus is going to drop down along with it, -2. So we did our distribution, and that's done. Combining like terms. The 5n and the 8 are not like terms. On the right side, the 3n and the 2 are not like terms, so we do not need to do that step. And then we're going to move all of the variables to the left. So this 3n right here that's on the right, we need to move it using the inverse operation. The opposite or the inverse of 3n is going to be -3n. -3n. So I'm going to stack those up under the like terms. 3n is like terms of 5n. And I'm going to draw my line to make sure that I'm doing it on both sides of the inequality. 5n minus 3n is 2n. Then we drop down our plus 8 is less than or equal to 3n minus 3n is 0. So that is going to cancel out, and we have left this -2. We have to make sure that we drop down that negative. It doesn't go away just because the n's go away. Now we're going to, so that step is done, and then we have to undo our addition or subtraction. You see here we have a plus 8, and we need to go ahead and undo that. The opposite of plus 8 is going to be -8, -8 on the other side. We still have our 2 in, but 8 minus 8 is going to be 0. So we're not going to bring anything down on that side. Is less than or equal to, And then -2 minus 8 is -10. Very last step is to divide by the coefficient. We have this 2n left over, so we need to divide by 2, divide by 2. The n is less than or equal to a -5.